What do you guys actually think of Marvel movies? A dream come true. Shows that with the right vision anything is possible. Not a perfect score, some are better than others, quite a few miss the mark, but overall, what a tour de force. I'm a nerd, I used to read the comics as a kid in Europe, so this means a lot. But while excited I'm also not a fanatic, I wait for everyone to go see at the movies and only go when all quiet down, I'm never in a rush. I simply love and appreciate what they're doing so far. They're fun. When I watch a Marvel movie I'm not looking for a complex story with intricate plot elements. I just want action, humor and nostalgia. I'm biased because I grew up with the comics and action figures, but I feel that even if I never knew who Iron Man was prior to the films, I would still appreciate them for their cultural significance and entertaining characters. I find them to be quite enjoyable. I was kind of a comic book nerd as a child and they're like live-action comics. The only thing I don't like about them is the close-up fighting sequences are dizzying. They try to hide the actors' lack of fighting skill by doing super close-up shots with a really jittery camera, every time. I understand why they do it because actors aren't usually martial artists as well, but it's still dizzying to me. All in all, great popcorn munching fun. Iron Man is a near-perfect movie. The only thing that could have made it better is if they'd started with Don Cheadle instead of Terrence Howard. The other best MCU films, emo, are Avengers 1, Captain America 2, Thor 3, and Avengers 3/4. The rest are essentially formulaic off Iron Man. Unrelated, RDJ and Jon Favreau are awesome at what they do, and I wish I was friends with either. They made it cool to be a nerd. The stuff I loved that made me unfuckable, comics, a not yet existent Mandalorian fandom, in high school, makes me really cool to the kinds of girls I like now. They're a cool story to nerd out over. I think previous generations had things like Star Wars and Star Trek. We get Marvel and they're a great distraction from everyday life. Like a theme park, if you will. And if you get engaged enough, the story might actually surprise you. I love Marvel. Endgame was amazing and I almost cried, and movies/shows never make me cry. Honestly, I hardly see anything redeeming about them. I legitimately tried to get into them. I watched them in order of release just this year and I have to say, all of them except maybe the Iron Man movies left me extremely disappointed. It's the same shit show every movie. Explosions, fighting, and quick camera movements. The storylines feel so absolutely minimal. They are bland mediocre movies which are formulaic. Infinity War was different and better though, but Endgame was back to the old formula. Popcorn flicks, nothing more, nothing less. Well, they're usually amazing or uncanny or incredible, but have you seen 10 Things I Hate About You? Heath Ledger is amazing. But seriously, even Hollywood can't mess up Wolverine. Individually they're fun, and that's about it. Overall, the whole series they've accomplished is pretty fucking epic, but I'm afraid of it only going downhill from here. Personally I think that they don't really try too hard to make the Marvel movies good in terms of directing and stuff because they know that as long as they have good effects, and a plot that people can keep up with, they'll make money. I just wish they did put more effort into the movies. The only movies I can say are good by themselves, and not BC of hype or overall contribution to the series, were Black Panther and Thor Ragnarok. But also I work at a movie theater and those bring in the worst rushes of people, so fuck Marvel. They're my childhood so I love them. From an objective standpoint, making such a big successful cinematic universe with such amazing characters is a huge accomplishment, but a lot of the films aren't that good by themselves. For example, Ant-Man is great in the context of the cinematic universe, but by itself is a pretty cookie-cutter film. The original few were good. Quickly became a washed-out blur of rehashing the same shit with one or two standouts. Final 4 to 5 movies were garbage. Endgame was awful. At worst they are still pretty decent, most are pretty good, some are very good, parts of some of them are absolutely fantastic, but they aren't must-see groundbreaking movies like some make them out to be. They are superhero movies, and they are excellent superhero movies. They are not meant to be anything other than a fun adaptation of comics to the big screen. They are the best at what they do, but to expect much more from them is unrealistic. They're fun. They're not on par with something like The Godfather, but so what? They're a good time and I enjoy most of them. Haven't watched many, but I find it kind of awesome that there's essentially a galaxy-scale world-building project spanning a couple dozen movies that people are excited about. Also, watching the few I have seen in theaters was a cool experience. I'm mostly impressed by the sound. I like them, but not enough to keep up with all of them. I've probably seen about 75% of the MCU movies, and a small amount of the television programming. The only one I love is the first Iron Man movie. What really made me amazed is how they made the story of each movie connected, how they spread the lore into pieces. As I prefer watching series that relate the story in every episode, movie together into one giant world, not just randomly showing shit like it's just a random day in my life. This made me invested in watching the whole MCU. I love most of them. Just not Ant-Man 2. And Ragnarok ruined Bruce Banner as a compelling, serious character. But other than that, I adore all of it. Good characters, amazing costumes, balanced and clever humor, and it has just been an amazing ride. Pros: great visuals, likable characters, good humor. Cons: predictable plots, obvious cash grabs, quantity over quality approach. Disney has a formula that makes money and they are content with sticking to it. Until the money stops rolling in, I don't see that changing. Consistently fun entertainment. Fun to see in the theater with a big group, and also great to have in the background while doing things with friends. The MCU overall is also an incredible achievement of production.